Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa Cantley. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to this week's Leadership Bites. And the topic for this week's session is from a conversation that I had with a leader. And it's going to be a little bit different than what I normally talk about, which normally what I've been talking about is a little bit more tactical strategy, action steps. This one's going to be a little bit different. And it comes from a conversation that I had with a client of mine where he had been, leading a business for over 15 years. And he said to me, Theresa, I've lost my passion. I feel lost. I feel stuck. I feel alone. I'm not really sure what to do next. But I know that how I'm functioning in the moment and what I'm doing, I feel like I'm surrounded by chaos. I feel like I can't get my footing and I just feel lost. And I looked at him, and first of all, if you're feeling this way, I know a lot of people have come to me and have said the same thing. And the truth is, when I turned to him and he just, you could see it all, that internal feeling that he was feeling of feeling lost and feeling like, I don't quite know what next step to take. I'm not really sure I should be doing this. I'm not really sure I should be a leader. And I'm not really sure I should be an owner. And I said to him, you could just see it, that internal feeling. You could see the external manifestation of it. Just feeling so forlorn and feeling just super frustrated and just really burned out. And I said to him, look, you're not lost. You're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. I said, and this is a chance for you to grow. So you can look at this situation and you can either take it where you can grow from it and you can use this as, I'm feeling stuck for a reason, or I'm feeling lost for a reason, because we're trying to play with an old playbook. And you can look at it and just say, you've just lost your aim. You've just lost your focus. You've lost your focus and your connection to that North Star, that thing that you're working towards, and the reason why you started doing this in the first place. So I said, you're just out of alignment. You're trying to achieve all of these goals and trying to do these day-to-day tasks when your intention is missing and that identity of who you are is missing. Or you're trying to be the person that you were 14 years ago when a lot of things have changed, a lot of growth has happened, a lot of things they're just different. So if you're feeling this way, I want to give you some things to think about and to focus on to hopefully help you shift from being stuck and being overwhelmed and feeling like you're burned out to feeling focused and maybe a little bit more in alignment, and maybe just feel like, quite frankly, because I know I have felt like this myself, just feel like you have your feet on the ground. Feel like you know what you're focusing on. You know the direction that you're going, and you have a little bit of a GPS to say, this is what I'm aiming towards. And like I said, if you're feeling like this, you are not alone. That is the one thing I want to just tell you. It is a common thing for people to feel, think, like have it manifest when you're being asked to grow. And I think that's the piece that people have been missing. And the only reason that I know this is because I've experienced it myself. When you're being asked to grow, when you're being asked to step into a next level leader, a next level of being, a next level of leading, your business is going to go into that next stage of growth, it is going to be met with challenge. It is going to be met with discomfort. It is going to be met with a lot of uncertainty. And if you're not careful and you're trying to play from, lead from, grow from an old playbook, there's going to be a lot of friction because here this person is trying to achieve these goals, trying to achieve these tasks, but there is a lack of alignment between who he is or who he wants to be and the things that are being asked of him. Now, I will also mention that this person was a leader that worked in the business, left, and then came back and came back into a role that's a higher level leader than how he left, right? So the first thing that I want to say, and the advice that I gave him was, first of all, you're trying to be a person who you were before, but you're also just focusing on all of these external things instead of saying, okay, and that's why he's missing his passion, because all of these external things are not in alignment with who he is or who he wants to be. So again, it's like a mismatched role. It's like when you have the wrong person in the wrong role. So where we started is really bringing back that intention. And I always looked at intention completely different than the way that I look at it now. When I look at intention, I look at it as, how do you want to show up today? Who do you want to be? Do you want to, and it can be as simple as, I want to be inspiring, or I want to be bold, or I want to have conviction in being the leader that I want to be. I want to be goal focused. I want to just be focused, period. I don't want to be distracted all day. So the intention can come from something as simple as that. Now, with this person and trying to get him recentered and realign with who he truly wanted to be from the inside, not from what anybody else was saying. And that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to be someone that someone else was telling him that he needed to be. He was trying to be a leader that these external people were trying to tell him he needed to be. And I said, forget all that. Just forget it. Let's go back to, how do you want to feel at the end of the day when you leave this place, when you go home for the end of the day? How do you want to feel? That was the first thing that we started with. How do you want to feel? The second thing was that we went back to is, what is the thing that makes you come alive? You started being a leader in this particular area, in this particular field, in this particular industry. You started being this, okay? You started doing this. Why? What is it, that activity that makes you come alive? And for him, it has to do with cooking. And I said, okay, so let's take that activity of cooking and being creative and creating an experience and connecting with people based on what you're preparing, okay? And leading a huge kitchen. Like, that makes you come alive. And at the end of the day, when you go home, how do you want to feel? So we kind of started there and started putting the pieces together of, all right, instead of leading from the outside in and letting all of these external circumstances and opinions and other people dictate how you want to be, let's start with, and so instead of starting from the outside in, let's start from the inside out. All right. And I think, again, it is a common mistake that people make, that number one, you're trying to be a leader today using things from the past instead of saying, as things have grown, as I have grown, who do I want to be today? And I think that's the intention. Um, that's the identity and the intention that we need to start with. Okay. So it's who are you and what is important? What matters most? Okay. Because when you can align that then with what it is that you're doing, things start to shift and change. Okay. So, like I said, number one was the trying to function from the person you were 5 years ago um, today. So we had to first redefine who he wanted to be, how he wanted to show up, how he wanted to feel. So we looked at that and then we aligned it to, okay, that intention behind what you're doing. Even something so simple as, okay, we are creating this new menu. Let's just say we're creating this new menu for the restaurant. Well, what is the intention behind what you're doing it, behind what you're doing? Is it just to create a new menu because you're bored? Or is it to create a new menu because you want to create a better experience? So, starting to really shift the intention behind the activities that you're doing. Okay. So, we connected with, first of all, recentering and saying, who do you want to be? Second of all, what really makes you come alive? And then the third thing is, we started to say, okay, what do you feel like you should be doing because of what the rest of the industry is doing? And I know this is a huge mistake that people make, or what you think you should be doing, but what is it that you actually need to do? What is it that is going to align with what makes you come alive? Why did you get started in this in the first place? And the way that we kind of got to that, all right, it wasn't just listing out a bunch of tasks. What we started to do is we started to say, what is your leadership philosophy behind running a kitchen, or behind being a chef, or behind being a leader, a partner in this business? So we said, what are your philosophies on, number one, the area that you lead, but also number two, about the business in general? And we started to redefine what those philosophies are, because he was trying to operate more from a tactical standpoint, which this person is a huge creative, okay? Huge creative. So we went back and we said, okay, let's redefine the philosophy that you want to run the area of the business that you lead. What do you want that philosophy to be? Because whatever that is, you're going to communicate it to your team. You're going to communicate it to everybody in the business so that they understand what matters most to you. So we started to align, okay, who do you want to be? Who does the business need you to be? But also, like, from an internal piece, who do you want to be? Not who does the industry tell you need to be, but who do you want to be? Then we started to align it with intention of what makes you come alive in this role, and why did you want to start this to begin with? I mean, I have a friend who owns a business. She owns a very, very successful store. And the reason why she started it is because she loves to have conversations with people. And she found, in kind of going through life and going through the ups and downs of business and being a small business owner, she was focusing on the things that don't make her come alive. And she stopped delegating. She stopped having conversations with customers. She stopped being creative. She stopped leaning, like, really focusing on an offer that she had, which was to help people decorate their homes, that she was super passionate about. And this is common. It's common because we get away from knowing who we are and knowing what makes us come alive. So back to this example with my client, we started with really understanding who he needed to be and who he wanted to be. And then number two, we started to align it with that intention of what makes you come alive and what is your philosophy behind what you do that ties to what makes you come alive. And let me tell you, as clear as I know my name is Theresa, when we started to lay it out this way, his whole demeanor shifted like that. His whole demeanor, you could tell he was much more grounded. He wasn't as stressed. He wasn't as overwhelmed. He wasn't as frustrated. Because then what was next is we start to do the recalibration piece. We start to do, okay, what do we need to implement? So from there, instead of working from the outside in and saying, I'm expected to put together a training program, or I'm expected to manage these finances and look at these finances and produce financial reports and whatever. Instead of looking at it from that perspective, we looked at it from the opposite, from the inside out, and said, okay, aligning with this philosophy and knowing who you have on your team right now and what is going to make this vision that you have, that aim. So then we got back to what is that aim, that primary focus. Okay. Got there and we said, all right, now what do you need to do? What is the training that you need to create? Who do you need on your team? Who do you need to mentor and guide so you can get them to go to the next level and take over some of these things that you need to pass off? So we build from the inside out, not the outside in. And then we start to recalibrate and get that focus back. So my question to you is, if you follow this, or if you're thinking to yourself, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling frustrated, I feel like I'm not really sure, I'm making all these decisions and I'm not really sure what I'm doing. My question to you is, what is one step, the next right step of integrity, if you look at it, that aligns with, if you follow these steps of who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What truly is my philosophy? My philosophy, not the industry's, not whatever, but my philosophy as a business owner of how I want to run a business, how I want to lead a business, how I want to show up every day. And then what is that next right step that you can really that you can take to get recentered? It could simply be having time in the morning that you create white space so that you can think through, okay, these are the things that really align with this vision that I have. Instead of chasing every shiny object, but really focusing on these are the things that I really want to do. It could be simply setting an intention in the morning, having a morning routine, shifting your morning routine so that you are setting an intention to show up bold, convicted, happy, inspiring, joyful, whatever that is. So what is that next step? And how important it is it to you to show up that way and to make sure you're setting that intention for the day? So it's just one step, one small step that you can take. And it might simply be just asking yourself, who do I need to be? Who does my business and my dream need me to be in this moment? So there's your question. There's your leadership bite for the day. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. If you are saying to yourself, wow, I really want to dig further into this, send me a DM. Let me know. Let's have a chat and let's see if we can get you moving in the right direction again. But until then, have a great rest of your week. Everyone stay healthy and stay warm. It's really cold here in the East Coast. So we'll see you again here next week. Bye-bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.